What's up, guys? Engine teardown take 3. My hands are dirty. It's been a long day. Both of us have had a long day, but we're ready to tear apart this bottom end so we can start, so I can start ordering some parts for this thing, because I have to have a deadline that I'd like to get it done by. So that is, the goal, September, to have this done. So we're going to tear the cam out, pistons out, crank out, see how everything's looking. I've already got the lifters out, and you can also already see the cam is a little pitted. I'm going to be replacing the cam and lifters anyway, so I'm not worried about that. But I don't know if you guys saw in the last video, the pistons and everything looked pretty decent for, 78,000 miles. So we're going to hop to it, get this pan off, get it all, timing cover, balancer, get that all off, and y'all see that in this time lapse. Covers off, fought us a little bit. There's freaking something right here. I don't know if you can really see it or not, but it was being a pain. It's hard to get this bolt out. There is a lot of slack on this chain, so I'm definitely going to be getting a new one. But the good thing is it's already got a double roller chain, so I don't have to buy the gears. I probably will, but at least I know it's going to fit on there. But cam's coming out, and then pulling the pan off. Cam is out, and it's not looking too bad. It's not looking terrible at all. Cam bearings look pretty good. I don't know if you can see in there. Get a flashlight on that in a second, but came out really good. My cam gear for the distributor is fighting me out, so we'll figure that out in a second. But time to get to the bottom end, roll this thing over, see what lies underneath. Hopefully we can make this thing a beast. Well, guys, forgive me the noise. The pressure washer is going and I am at work and they can't stop, but I might as well show you. The bottom end came off and it actually looks really good. I don't see any rod bearings or rods that look blue, and if it was blue that would mean they're got a little too warm, but right now they look really good. Gonna start pulling them out, pull the main caps off, pull the oil pump off. As you can see in the oil screen, it is not packed full of garbage and it doesn't look too bad in here anyways. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, this thing actually is in good shape for what it is. The oil pan, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of sludge. It's not terrible, but I mean, 70,000 miles on an engine that's literally 30 years old. I can't complain whatsoever. So gonna rip these pistons out, put them in a box, and then take the crank out, put it in a box, and see where we go from there. First things first up is gonna be getting the block clean. Now, as you can see right here, cam bearings don't look that bad at all. Now the block is upside down, so this part that it rests on you can't see. Yeah, you can't really see it, but I don't feel a thing on these cam bearings, so I might just ride these out. I'm gonna check them all, but I'm probably gonna ride these cam bearings out because they don't look like they are in bad shape at all. So, gonna get these pistons out, oil pump off, and then get this crank out and show you guys what we found. Down to the last piston, getting it off now, and I'll show you the bearing here. Commando, putting in some work.
Yeah, not coming out, but
not wanting to come out. Here, so let's try this. Kind of helps the metal release. Old school tip. Let's see that. So our bearings, they don't look terrible. They don't look great, but they don't look terrible. I am going to put a fresh set of bearings in this, but our crank is really clean. There's nothing to worry about there. There's no feelable grooves or any kind of crazy scoring that I need to worry about. There's a lot of oil on the floor. Don't worry about that. We'll clean that up in a moment. But we're going to get this last piston out and then pull the hub, pull the main bearings, and then we'll show you those. Piston came out just fine. And one thing that I'm liking right here is that this spins over pretty nicely just with one finger. Throw it over. No problems here. As you can see, we'll start with all 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. We are looking really good, and let's get this thing off and see how the mains look. All right, well, here's our first main bearing. It's actually our thrust bearing that's right in the middle. He's pulling number 4 out, but guys, this thing looks really good. That is not scratches. That is my thumb mark. See? None of that is feelable. That is all just for your eyes. These look good. That one looks just the same. They do not look bad at all. Can't feel anything. On the crank, we are looking really good, guys. I'm really happy. Still gonna throw a new set of bearings in, but at least I don't have to worry about any kind of damage being done to the crank. Main bearing are out. Crank looks great. This thing had a really bad oil leak. I don't know how long it was leaking oil, but it was really bad. It is caked everywhere, but the bearings look like they're in really good shape. I think this thing will go through just fine, maybe even a little bit of nitrous.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, maybe a lot of bit. We'll see down the road, but we're going to pull this out, put it in a box so it doesn't get hurt. Well, that's it, guys, for today. Engine's completely torn down, rods, pistons out, crank out. Crank is in a box, taped up, nice and safe away. Things I will be reusing on this engine. Going to be using the stock pistons and rods. Kind of like a budget build, but not a budget build kind of thing. I'm putting my money in the right places, but also, this engine isn't going to be staying in this vehicle. I really want to do a big nitrous 340. That's kind of my goal with this truck. But this 360 was available, ready to go, so that's what I'm going to go with. Using stock crank, but it's getting new bearings, new rings. The pistons are getting gonna be getting cleaned up. The cylinders gonna be honed. It's gonna get new cam, new lifters, new timing chain, new gaskets top to bottom, new intake, 4-barrel with a 4-barrel carburetor. Still don't know what carburetor I'm gonna go with yet, but if you have any ideas, drop them in the comments, shoot me a message. I'm looking for something in the 6 to 650 range. I'm really liking the Brawler series, but I'm also really liking Edelbrock. I want to go Holley, but Holleys are expensive. So I have a Holley 4-barrel, but it needs to be rebuilt, and I'd really like to get a nice brand new one. So that's what we're going off with there. Let me show you guys the cam bearing. So there it is, guys. I don't know if you can see. There is cam bearings. They are not in bad shape at all. That is dirt, so don't be concerned about that. Back one, also looking good. There's our front one. Honestly, the bearings in this thing looked really good, and there wasn't a lot of metal in the oil when I drained it. So honestly, this thing was probably due for an oil change, but I'm gonna rock those cam bearings because they are not terrible at all. They're really in good shape. You really can't feel much in them. Actually, you can't feel anything on them. So here's our mains. Our mains look decent. They feel good. This one looks like it's got some pitting from maybe the moisture getting to it. But all of the bearings looked really good. Even the thrust bearing was not beat up too much at all. So one good thing is new bearings on bottom. So main bearings, rod bearings, piston rings, and then new cam. Found the cam I want to go with. It is a Lunati Voodoo cam for Mopar roller. It is 492 lift, intake, and exhaust, and I think it's going to sound pretty nasty in this truck. The transmission over there, that is a 727. That is getting a higher stall converter and is getting rebuilt throughout it, and a mild shift kit. So there's that. Here's our lifters. The lifters, I don't know if you can see, they did not look bad at all, but these are stock. It's 170,000 mile, 30 years old, so therefore I'm going to get new ones. There's our distributor hold down. Old distributor's out. Here's the old intake. If you can see this, all rusty and grimy. All our other parts. I am getting a new oil pump because if I'm going to be in there, I might as well be right there. Kind of cleaning stuff up. This block will get cleaned next week or the week after. Our coolant passages, I don't know if you can see in there. They're not looking too hot, but they're also not looking bad. You can definitely tell that that rear freeze plug was leaking. It was the worst freeze plug around the entire thing. Mondo's got the oil pan all cleaned up. We're going to be painting this thing black. Everything's going to be black, like Johnny Cash loves it. Inside's cleaned out. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Because it was kind of grimy in there.
Yeah, it was.
A little bit. So definitely, they did their oil changes, but not quite frequent enough. But, so that's it there. Here's the rods and pistons. Got them covered up in a box. Rod bearings are not bad at all, but like I said, still going to be replacing those. I am going with ARP head bolts, but we're using the stock heads because this is what I got to go with. I am going to be using cam valve springs, heavy duty valve springs, just because of with the cam I'm going with, I don't want to have any issues with valve float or anything else like that. I am trying to get my hands on some nice Mopar valve covers to kind of top the top end off, but that's just for aesthetics, not for actual performance. So I mean, well, they're Mopar valve covers. They had like 100 horsepower per valve cover. Got the timing cover cleaned up pretty good, not too bad. But guys, we're kind of ending it off there. I'm gonna work on that Newport real quick. All I gotta do is change the neutral safety switch and it'll be able to start from the inside again. We thought it was the relay, but it's not. So I'm gonna go get that car, pull it in, and then we will go from there.